Swaha. Then you have one in between a large ocean called the Maharaloka dimension. Then Jana, Tapa, Satyam. These three are the higher ocean of light and different consciousness altogether. So if we handle the Swaha, then you can hear me, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you handle, if you realize the Bhurbhuva Swaha, then we have to cross over the psychic ocean to go to the higher dimension. And it is in this psychic dimension that we need the Guru's grace, because only Guru can take us across at this point, because he has gone through. And it's a very, it can be dangerous, treacherous, or beautiful. It's like how Hanuman crossed the ocean to go and meet the Jivatma, who actually is the Mahalakshmi sitting in Ashokvana. So then now we are coming to Vibhishana, and Vibhishana has been accepted. We did that here last time, didn't we? Vibhishana comes. Okay. So now what happens is, okay, now the next is Rama asks Vibhishana, now how do we cross the ocean? Now we know where she is, you've come here to help us. There is this huge ocean between us. So he says, how will we cross? And Vibhishana tells him, we have to take the Sharanagati or surrender to the ocean god. Now here was Vibhishana, like all of us. When he came to Sri Rama one day before, he says, Sarva Loka Rakshaka. That is, you are the protector of the entire universes. And now he is telling him, to this great protector of all the universes, he is saying, you have to sit down and take the surrender to the ocean god. Now, but Rama looked at Vibhishana as a bhakta, so he didn't misunderstand. He didn't ask him, how come yesterday you thought I was a protector, now you want me to sit and beg somebody else? So, what the meaning here is that Hari, or the Paramatma or Vishnu in this context, he accommodates each bhakta, devotee, according to their needs. For example, when Krishna accommodated Yashoda, he was a child to her. He allowed her to feel that motherliness, matritvam, fully. And then he gave her a vision of the Vishwarupa. When he accommodated Arjuna, Arjuna was just a companion, but at the same time he was also the chief warrior on that side. And the chief warrior who was supposed to bring the victory suddenly lost his nerve in the beginning. And it was Krishna accommodated him as he would a friend. And then he accommodated Dhruva. Dhruva was the young boy who was steadfast in his moving towards the highest place, because he was upset that he couldn't sit on his father's lap. So he accommodated him as a child who had been hurt and wanted to get a complete love and acceptance from the divine. Krishna accommodated Draupadi. Draupadi was going through a lot of distress, and she had 5 husbands. All of them were the top people in the war, and even before the war. But when the gambling started, and she was placed as one of the what do you call it?
Stake.
Prices, no?
A stake.
Steak, correct, that's right. Not a beef steak. So she was put in there as stake. She had 5 husbands and nobody could even lift their head and say, don't do this. So she had to turn to Krishna, and Krishna was a friend, a companion far beyond any of the Pandavas, because she herself was a portion of Kali. So the divine accommodates every person according to their needs. That's what is important. Everybody doesn't have to be a Gopika, everybody doesn't have to be a Arjuna. A Shannon can be a Shannon. God will come to Shannon in that particular way. A Meeta can be Meeta. God will come that way. Charis will be Charis, because he is in every person. And there is no discrimination in him. And this straightforwardness or honesty in the sense of God accommodating and going according to your will. For example, he accommodated Ravana because Ravana was an enemy. So he said, fine, I'll come as an enemy, I'll confront you and I'll liberate you that way. That quality of God doing what you want him to do, not what he's thinking of. You want to be a thief, he will be the Atma inside you and he will be a thief with you. You want to be a good person, he will be that good Atma inside you and he will live like a good person. So whatever you want to do, he gives you that freedom. And that is what is called Arjava, that quality. So here when Vibhishana told him, you have to surrender to the ocean, Rama said, okay. So he went to the ocean bank and then he lay down on the beach with his left hand under his head. And the commentator says that as he lay down, and then of course he wasn't fasting. He said, for 3 days I will fast and pray to the ocean god. And they say that below was the salty ocean and above was the ocean of compassion. That's how they described Rama lying a little higher than the ocean, because the bank is always a little higher. So nothing happened in the meantime. So, and he waited and waited. And what was happening, now Rama was thinking, now this is not fair, because the ocean, even ethically, you go to anyone's house and you want to see them, they'll come out to receive you. And here is Paramatma, or the Supreme Divine Self, standing in front of the ocean and waiting to be just given a polite or a civil invitation. But what happens to the ocean? It doesn't come up at all. So Rama was very, very angry, because why does he want to cross? Not because she is his wife, because Sita is his consort even when high up in the transcendental region. They don't need to come. She in this context, she is the devotee, and he's very angry with the ocean because he's doing all that he can to bring the devotee to his feet. And the ocean is making a hurdle there. I'm so angry. So they say he took his bow and arrow, and when he tied the string to the bow, it made such a sound, twang, that all the fishes and the not small fishes, the big whales, and there were those days, they say, sea animal which was as far as long as half a kilometer or something like that. And all of them started running in all directions, swimming in all directions. And then the ocean itself vibrated so much that it rose up. And as it rose up, the waves, it threw fishes and alligators up, big ones. And then the serpents, the sea serpents and the Rakshasas in the water, they all came up, and they came up as high as the mountain because of, it was like a major tsunami or something like that, you can say. Very, very major wave. And all the huge alligators and the Rakshasas, that is the monsters living in the water, were thrown up. And the waters emitted a huge roar. It was like as if the end of the world had come. And he was getting ready. He said, he tells Lakshmana, I'm going to drain the ocean of its water so that the monkeys will walk across. But today I'm going to cross, he says. And Lakshmana comes running to him, and then he tells him, don't do this. You will be able to take the monkeys across today, but don't do it by drying up the waters. He says, people like you should not get angry about things like this. And then, but meantime, Rama didn't let go. He kept that bow there, and all the rishis and the smaller gods, that is the vibrations and all of, they all started crying because they were scared, and they said, stop, stop, stop. But Rama didn't. He said, I will dry you up today, he tells the ocean. And when my monkeys go to the other side, then you will suffer agony at my hands. That is how much the divine does to bring his devotee back. So he charged it with the potency of a missile guided by Brahma, with the Brahma mantra. That means it becomes like a major atomic bomb. 1 million atomic bombs that will wipe out the whole of manifestation. That sort of a Brahmastra it's called. He gives it that energy, and once he stretched that bow to the full force, the earth and the mountains and everything shook with that vibration. And then flashes of lightning came from the sky, and the way the clouds moved, it looked like as if Pralaya was coming. Pralaya meaning the end of the world. Then the ocean itself rose high, and the king of the ocean, the god of the ocean, he came up. He was clad in red robes with a garland of red flowers, and he came up and he joined his palms together, and he bowed before Sri Rama, and he said, look, I'm sorry I'm delayed. This bit is a bit funny. He said, 2 fishes were fighting, so I had to go and become an umpire between them. That's why I'm delayed. But then anyway, he says, Pancha Mahabhutas, that is the elements that make up the entire universe, including our body. So when we leave the body and the spirit goes, the Pancha Mahabhutas leave the body and the body decays. If you remember, once I told you about if you keep a brinjal in your house, it will be fresh, then after 5-6 days it will start withering because the Pancha Mahabhutas have left it. What are the Pancha Mahabhutas? The elements such as earth, water, fire, air, wind and space. So he says, these Panchabhutas, that is earth, air, space, water and fire, he says, they are fixed in their nature. Because the eternal law of Prakriti governs them. They don't go away anywhere. It's water, you see, the ocean. So my nature too is like that. Nobody can go against their own nature, the ocean says. I am so deep and incapable of being swum across. People can't just easily swim across me. So he says, I cannot, whether I'm greedy for power or whether I'm greedy for wealth or anything, I cannot allow my waters to be, which have the alligators and fishes and everything, I can't allow the waters to solidify because that's the only way, otherwise Rama can walk across. said, I can't do that because I am governed by the law of the Supreme. This is the dharma of the ocean. I can't go beyond that. And then he says, but I'll give you a way to cross over. That much I can do, he says. And then Rama asks him, he has put an arrow to his bow. You see, when Rama takes an arrow, it has to find some place. Rama is supposed to have one wife, one word. That means he never goes back on his word, and one arrow. If he aims at something, it will hit that something. Now he's put the arrow to the bow. So he asks the ocean, now where shall I send this arrow? You're saying don't send it to the ocean to dry it, but tell me then where do you want me to send it? I can't put it back with the river. So the ocean tells him, in the north of that ocean where it is, that's where you get Rajasthan and that area, Rajasthan and the next state. And he says, the people there are like terrorists. It's a very beautiful place. And because they are like terrorists, these people come and drink water from the ocean. And he says, I don't want evil in the form of these people drinking my waters, because then they'll contaminate it, and anybody else who drinks that water will take in the evil vasanas. So I would like you to shoot at that area and remove all the evil that is there. That place is called Marukantara, that is Bikanera and Marwar of Rajasthan. And even now they say there is a place where when he sends that arrow which destroys all the negativity there, it then goes into the earth. And when it goes into the earth, it forms a cleft in that area, and the brackish waters like ocean waters come from underneath, because anyway underneath is the ocean. And they say it is still in that sort of a place where it is in the earth only, it's in the land mass, not near the water, but you get that particular cleft from which water keeps coming out continuously. And Rama then gave a boon to this land. He said that since my arrow has pierced it, and the bhumi, the prithvi or the earth has not done anything wrong, it's the people who lived there. So he tells this place that it will be good for cattle, it will be an auspicious place, you won't find many diseases there. There will be a lot of fruit, roots, honey, plenty of cows will graze there, and you will get a lot of ghee and milk and herbs. All that will be there because that land has allowed him to send the arrow and remove negativity there. So even now they say that land, it's in short they call it Maru, and there they say that it's always very pleasant and you have roots and fruits and everything. Then after saying that, he said another thing, the ocean. He said, I'll tell you how to cross. You have, one of the monkeys is called Nala. And Nala is the son of the divine architect called Vishwakarma. He is capable of building a bridge, like his father is a great architect. And then there is Neela, the other monkey. He used to irritate the rishis as a child by picking up their shaligramas when they were worshipping it and putting it into the water. So the rishis, actually, because he was a child and he was so innocent, they told him, don't worry, when the time comes, whatever you put on the water will float. So he also helped, and actually today they still have those sort of rocks in that area. They are heavy to carry, but if you put them on water, they'll float. I don't know what chemical, whatever it is. Once even Swami Satyananda brought it to Rikiya to show us. Huge big rocks. It's heavy to carry. You put them in the water, they'll float. So, immediately the monkeys said, okay, we'll build the bridge and you don't have to bother about it. And all the monkeys went and brought stones and rocks, and some of them broke trees and mountain peaks, and whatever they could get, they brought and they put it on the water, and of course it was floating. And the bridge that they made was 184 miles lengthwise, and breadthwise also it was a few miles. I don't remember how much now. So, looking at all this, all the mystics who were with body, without body, Siddhas, Gandharvas, they all came and stood to behold this. They said, no, wow, because to see a bridge being constructed on the sea. Now, at the end, it ended up being 800 miles long and 80 miles wide. So you can imagine how long and broad it was. And Valmiki describes it very sweetly. He says, the extensive, well-constructed, magnificent, smooth, solidly cemented, vast bridge across the sea cast its charm like a parting of a woman's hair. You know, when you part your hair that way. And then Sugriva tells Rama, now you don't have to walk all these miles. Hanuman will carry one of you, and Angada will carry the other person. Angada remembers Vali's son. So that's how they cross. And when they crossed, all the rishis of the past and who had been waiting and waiting for darshan, all of them who are in different regions, they all came down, and the Siddhas and the rishis who had mantras that they revealed, all of them came down and they said Vijayi Bhava, that is, be victorious and come back. Now, while they were going, Rama looks at Lakshmana and he says, let's hurry up and go because I see a lot of evil omens. He says the trees are falling down, there are unkind clouds like animals, and the rain is coming tinged with blood, and from the blazing sun there is fire coming down, and animals and birds are crying with fear. So something is going to happen. Even though the moon is giving light and heat, the whole area looks dark. And then he says crows, hawks, vultures and jackals are howling, so people are scared. All this is happening in Lanka. So he says, let us go immediately to Lanka so we won't waste this time. Now, then what happens is, Ravana calls a monster called Shuka, and he asks him to go there and be a spy, sort of. And he says, come back and let me know what sort of defenses Rama has, because I'm sure he won't have much. He's after all roaming around only with his brother in the forest, and monkeys can't do anything. So this that man's name is Shuka, and not man, the monster, and he comes there, and when he comes there, he is recognized by, he dresses like a monkey, of course, but is recognized by Vibhishana, and all the monkeys catch him and they start beating him up and are like the cops anywhere. And when they do that, this one starts crying, oh Shuka. And Shuka says that if you hurt me from now till the time I have left, he says, Rama, that karma will belong to you, because after all, who am I? I'm only doing what my Lord has said, which is come and go and spy and come, which is an accepted thing in all. That is what we go. So,
order zinc? No. The zinc is good. Some zinc arrived. Zinc arrived? Maybe somebody sent me some zinc.
Who is that who's talking?
I don't know which monkey that is, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so when he did this, Rama says, let the poor chap go. After all, he's only come because Ravana told him to come. And let him go back and tell Ravana that it's better that you surrender, give the message to Ravana to surrender Sita and say sorry, and I will not do anything to you. I'll let you go. But if he doesn't do that, then I'm going to really do something very terrible. So, Ravana called Shuka and another chap who's got with him, Sarana. Both of them have been like spies there. When they went back, and Ravana calls them separately, and he says, please let me know what's happening there. So when they before they leave Rama, they are so thankful to Rama for releasing them. So they, without realizing, they bless him, saying, be victorious. And then they go back to Ravana. And then they tell Ravana, this Rama, he possesses such terrific charm. And he has weapons that he can use to destroy Lanka single-handed. He doesn't need a single monkey. But the monkeys are there, and so there is no chance for Lanka to win in this war. So let us make peace with Rama and let Sita go back to Rama. This is what his spies are telling him. They've come back as spies. And of course, naturally, he gets very mad because nobody likes to hear the truth, especially from your people who are praising the antagonist. So then he says, I don't want all that rubbish, just tell me who are the leading monkeys in that army. So these people talk about Angada, and that is Vali's son, and Hanuman, and they talk about who they are. And then what Ravana does is, when Sarama is describing these monkeys, one by one he describes, and he talks about how high and how far each one can jump and what they are able to do, their war qualities. And he comes to Hanuman almost last because he talks about all the great ones. And when they talk like this, he tells them to get out. He says, I've had enough of your praising these other people. And then he calls another person. And meantime, the Rama and Lakshmana have crossed, and they've come here to Lanka. They've reached the other shore. And Ravana is standing on top of his palace and he's looking down. And then some other monsters there show him different people. And when they show Rama, they say that he is a very good archer. He is like death. And the one standing next to him is Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, everybody describes as Ramasya Dakshino Bahu. He is Rama's right hand from the beginning till now. And he himself can be very powerful enough to completely wipe out Lanka. And then he shows him Sugriva and he tells him about Bali, because when Ravana was young and Indrajit was a child, around that time Angada was also a child, Bali used to go to the 7 oceans and do his Gayatri jump. So on one of those occasions, Ravana was crossing and he saw this monkey standing and praying in the water. So he thought he'll go and irritate him a bit, provoke him a bit. So he quietly sneaks behind the monkey and he meddles with his tail and disturbs his jump. So what does Wali do? He wraps him around his tail and then ignores him, and then wherever he goes to the 7 oceans, he dunks Wali also in the water. Then he comes back and ties him over Angada's cradle so Angada can play with this man there. So Ravana is quite scared of Bali. And to know that Rama killed Bali, that was scary enough for him to start with. But he didn't want to show his people that he was actually scared of them. So what he does is, he sends another person, another monster called Sardula. He says, you go there and you see what's happening and let me know everything that's happening there. So when he goes and he comes back, Ravana asks him, who are there and what is happening? So this monster again talks about all the valor of all these monkeys and Rama and Lakshmana and all that, which infuriates Ravana still further, because they say, I think it's time that since we cannot fight with them and because there are millions and millions of monkeys there, and then they say, let us, instead of wasting everything at one go, instead of the whole country being wiped out, let us give Sita back to Rama and make friends. He will be a good ally also. So what does Ravana do? He thinks to himself, maybe there is a point in what they are saying. What does he want? He wants Sita. That's all he wants. So he calls one of his other monsters, who was a great illusion-making magic man, Vidyujjihva. And he tells him, make me a head like as it is Rama's head that is cut off, and a bow that belongs to Rama. So he gets this head and he goes to Sita in the Akampana, the present place where he is, and he tells her, see, this husband of yours, Rama, on whom you relied so much and you treated me with such disrespect when I coaxed you, here you can see what he is up to. And he brings this head of Rama and the bow there. And then he gives Sita an account of how he fought with Rama and then he killed him, and then they cut off Rama's head when he was sleeping. So he said he didn't even have to fight, he's so dumb. And he says, you are so stupid going behind this man. Now give up all that, because anyway he's dead and gone. And you can be a queen of all, the chief queen in my kingdom. You think you're very wise, and you're actually very stupid. Only thing, you're so beautiful, and so I have to have you with me. And then Sita, looking at Rama's head and the bow, she starts crying, and she, just like any other woman, she calls Kaikeyi in her anger. She says, I'm sure you are satisfied now with whatever you did. When Lakshmana goes back without Rama and without me also, because I will kill myself here, then Kausalya will be looking at the back of Lakshmana to see when her son is coming. And not finding him in the back, you are going to damage her whole psyche, because she's going to be terribly broken when she sees her son hasn't come back. And so she goes on crying, at which time somebody comes and tells Ravana that you are wanted by the one commander-in-chief. And he wouldn't call you unless there was an urgency. So he leaves her and goes off. Now at that time, there is another monster lady, Rakshashi, who's the wife of Vibhishana. She's been very friendly with Sita, the only one who's friendly and decent looking. The others are all with monster faces. So she says that I'm sure it cannot be Rama's head and the bow of Rama's, because she tells Sita, you often told me that your father, when he got you married, looked at all the omens, the Lakshanas, and said that actually you will be a queen who will be coronated and you will have children. How can that happen if you become a widow now? So I don't think it's true. If you want, I can go hide and I can go and see what Ravana is up to. I can even go to Rama and Lakshmana and see what they are doing, and I'll get back to you. So Sita says, no, don't do that, but you'll be doing a great help to me if you go and see what Ravana is practicing as a strategy. Because now that my husband is gone, I'm sure there'll be something else he must have up his sleeve. So this one Sarama comes and tells her. She went and she spied on Ravana and his people. And she says to her that even Ravana's mother comes and tells him that it's not right to keep somebody else's wife like this, and something terrible will happen because Rama seems to be a very powerful person. And let us not fight with them and unnecessarily damage everything you put together. So Rama tells his mother, you stay on the side, don't get into all this because you don't know anything about what is happening here. Most men say that to their wives. And then
you know what I'm really going to hammer home.
somebody nice and interesting there. So they all, whoever comes, they say that Rama is something different. He's not like the usual people. Nobody can build a bridge like that in 5 days and cross over. Nobody can go and kill Khara. Remember Surpanaka's brother? In just single-handed 14,000 Rakshasas, he killed them. So there must be something more with this man. He's not just an ordinary person. So let's give Sita back and have peace in the kingdom. And then, of course, Lakshmana is very, very, not Lakshmana, Ravana is very, very angry with all these people, and he sort of is angry and sulking together at the same time. And then he goes back to his palace inside. He's looking from out where they are showing it to him. Now what Rama does is, they crossed over, they've come to the other side. So he says, let's find a place where we can look down at Lanka. At the same time, it must be calm and pleasant. So all those people who walked so many miles, they must be tired. Let them lie down and have a break and rest, because tomorrow we'll start the siege. So he goes up and all the monkeys, of course, follow him. And they come to a very beautiful place because there are all sorts of beautiful trees covered with flowers and fruits. And you can look down on Lanka, and there too they see all golden palaces and the bees humming around because they're full of nectar. And you see the birds and dancing peacocks and all this. So the monkeys came up along with Rama, and they were looking down to see the palace. They could see the palace. And Rama is amazed that he has such a wonderful place and so beautiful with trees and plants and birds singing, and every house is festooned with flowers and all that. And he is so amazed. And as he is looking, he sees Ravana perched on the top of one of his gates, Ravana's gates. He is also looking around to see where Rama and the others are. At which time Sugriva gets a little excited and enthusiastic. And he's already feeling guilty that they've come so far and they haven't been able to bring Sita so quickly. So what he does, he makes one jump and he lands on top of Ravana, who is sitting on the gate. So Ravana and Sugriva have a tussle. They are both good in, what do you call it? Wrestling. So eventually Sugriva takes Ravana's crown and throws it on the ground, fights with Ravana, and then he makes him fall. Once he falls, he jumps back to Rama. And Rama was mad with Sugriva. He says, without consulting me, you jump there very impulsively. When you are a king, you should not undertake such daring acts. Because if you expose me to risk, as well as this whole army, as well as Vibhishana, everybody standing here, just because you like doing daring things, you could have caused agony to everybody around here. He says, never ever repeat such an act anymore without discussing with me. And he says, if something had happened to you, I wouldn't have bothered about Sita or Lakshmana or Bharata or Shatrugna or even myself. I would have just gone back, because if I lose you, what is the point of getting Sita and coming back? He says. And he said, never ever do this again. Then he tells Lakshmana again that I feel that something very negative is going to happen. I see all these premonitions around here. So they sit and discuss. He said, let us send some person who is sensible as an emissary to Ravana. So they all decide that they will send Angada's Vali's son, and he's a crown prince. So you're not sending the king himself, Sugriva, you're sending the next, like an ambassador sort of. So he tells him, tell Ravana when you go there, he says, all the sins that you have done earlier, which is done, it may be by ignorance or on purpose. So whatever you did against the seers of the Vedic mantras, against the gods, against the people, the yakshas, and all the people who've been doing good to the universe on the whole, these spirits of the trees, the spirits of the waters, you hurt all of them sometime. You haven't paid for it. Now all this is going to come all together when I come there, and you're going to lose the whole of Lanka because of the action that you have done in stealing Sita. He said, I know that you are conceited because you got a boon from Brahma after so much of penance. He said, now I will come, and through me all your karmas will come all together, and you will die at my hands. Then he says, before you get in for the war, do your own funeral rites for your soul in advance. Why? Because by the time I finish with you, there will be no monster, no Rakshasa left in the whole of Lanka to do the rituals for your departed soul. I'll wipe them all out. And if you want to look at Lanka and be happy, look at it for the last time, because now Your life is dependent upon me. And he tells Angada, go and tell him that. So, Angada, people would say he looked like fire. He was always like that, very brilliantly shining, but no, he never boasted of himself or anything like that. Very well cultured, very regal in his behavior. So he goes there and he goes to Ravana, and Ravana asks him, who are you? And he says, I am Rama's messenger and I am the son of Vali, to give Ravana a fright, so he'll remember Vali. He said, you were the one my father suspended over the cradle so I could play with you like a toy. Then Ravana is very angry. He says, forget all that. Actually, who are you? He says, I've come here as an ambassador to give you a message. And then he tells him what Rama said. And Ravana is so angry, he tells the people to catch this monkey and put him to death. Now all the messengers and the soldiers and all were moving away because they thought this was Hanuman come back. They had a raw deal the last time when Hanuman came back and set fire to the whole of Lanka, and all monkeys looked the same. They said, oh my goodness, he's back again. But then when Angada heard the king say that, put him to death, and there were 4 brave Rakshasas, monsters, they came and they held on to Angada. Angada rose into the air and he stood with one foot on top of Ravana's palace. And in doing this, the Rakshasas fell down from him and he put his foot down and he said, I'm daring any one of you to come here and try to move me. So what happens is the 3-4 Rakshasas, big ones, powerful ones, strong ones go, and they are trying to move his foot. They are not able to move it. And then when they are not able to move it and they are looking at him scared, and he suddenly releases the foot. Those who are trying to hold him tumble down, and he flies back to Rama and he gives him the story of what happened there. Now, again, Rama and the others sit down and they decide how to strategize for the war. Meanwhile, what Ravana does is, he sends one of the other monsters with an army, and that person is killed. So the next, he sends Indrajit, his son. Indrajit he is called Indrajit because he won a victory over Indra, that is the king of Indriyas, the illuminated mind. Because he used to do a lot of tantric practices also. And that's how he became very powerful. So Ravana tells him Ravana's favorite son, and he says, go and fight and do whatever you can. So what did Indrajit do? He goes and he fights and he loses. The minute he loses, he goes up into space, and because of his tantric powers, he makes himself invisible. So nobody can see where he is. From where he is, he shoots arrows, which are like snake-like arrows. And those arrows completely twirl around Rama and Lakshmana, and both are brought to the ground. And then he keeps shooting arrows at them, and they couldn't see where he is. He was invisible. But he kept shooting arrows at them, so that there wasn't a square inch of their body that was not covered with arrows. And they were bleeding, and then they became unconscious. And after they became unconscious, all the monkeys thought they died, and they started wailing and crying and all that. So now what he did, Indrajit goes back home triumphantly and he tells his father, If you want, you can go and see both of them. They are dead because I thought they were dead, and they were tied up with arrows like snakes, real snakes. So he says, if you want, you can go and do it. And the king was so happy. He went and hugged his son, and he said, now there's no hurry, you see, for anything, because these two are dead. So he tells Trijata, who is one of the Rakshashis there, who is taking care of Sita, he asks her to come, and he says, you take Sita in the Pushpaka Vimana, that is a flying chariot, and you let her look from up so she can see with her own eyes that Rama and Lakshmana are dead. So Trijada says, okay, I go, and she goes to Sita, and then Vibhishana meanwhile goes there, and the monkeys are very disheartened, and they're saying, we can't do anything now, it's all gone, what's the point? And Sugriva tells them, you all go back, I will try my last bit single-handed, I'll try if I can fight Ravana, I will fight and bring back Sita, otherwise I'll die in the attempt, but when they come after you, none of you need to lose your life. So at which time Vibhishana comes there, and Vibhishana comes and says, don't get worried, don't feel upset, you don't know Rama's power. He is not an ordinary person, he is a Paramatma. And all these other people, all of you lost heart because you were afraid you would die. Same like it's happening in Corona. You see people doing all sorts of unpredictable responses. So he says, when you are devoted to truth, Satyam, and Dharma, you are never afraid of death. So what he does is, he says, just let's protect Rama and Lakshmana's bodies so that wild animals will not come and take them. And he says, let us wait here and see what happens by morning. Meanwhile, Trijada takes Sita in that flying chariot, and she comes and Sita looks down and she sees both Rama and Lakshmana lying in a pool of blood because they are tied up with the snake-like missile. And then again she started crying and she said, I must be a very unlucky person with a lot of bad karma on me, because how could these people who are so dharmic be killed in such a way? And then Trijada tells her that, look, I know something of the reading the Lakshanas. And she says, I can tell you that they are not dead by just one reason, that the Pushpaka Vimana does not carry a widow. You only carry married women. So if they were dead, you could not have come in the Pushpaka Vimana. That's one thing. Then the second thing is, she says, I know these Rakshasas very well, and I know that nobody can defeat Rama because he's the Paramatma himself. I know that very well. She says, she looks at Trijata and she feels a bit happy, reassured sort of. And just then what happens is a big bird comes in the sky, flapping its wings. That is Garuda. And Garuda is the one on which Vishnu sits and goes anywhere. And Vishnu is lying down, surrounded by snakes who have tied him up. The minute the snakes see Garuda, they all disappear. They get off Rama and Lakshmana and they disappear. And then Ravana sends some more people, and they go on fighting, and they say that this fighting cannot be compared with any other war. It's its own comparison only because it is so fierce that um, nobody could defeat either side. They were almost equally matched in that sense. And then he calls another person called Akampana. Akampana means one who doesn't tremble, one who could never be scared, a Rakshasa. And he tells him, you go and conquer Rama and Lakshmana, because he was afraid to send Indrajit the second time. And Akampana was a very skilled fighter. He loved to fight. And then anyway he goes and then he kills a lot of monkeys, and eventually he is also killed. Now, it's Hanuman who kills Akampana. But I'm going to stop here because the previous bit I said about Trijata telling Sita that, they could not have died because of these Lakshanas. It's supposed to be a very auspicious chapter that if anybody is in a difficult situation, if they listen to it or read it, that chapter, they say it will bring them good luck. Good luck meaning that any danger or any crisis in their lives, it will remove. So we'll stop here and then we'll see, because a little while later, Ravana himself will come to the war. And we don't want to be in the middle of a war when we leave.